Before Mastt, we managed all our cost control in Excel files, and everything was manual, meaning that one small error could affect the whole report. With Mastt, something that would take me maybe 2 or 3 days, I am able to get the information within basically 20 minutes tops. It meaning that I get the report done in 20 minutes because the information you can get within seconds.
Could you please introduce yourself and your role at Travencore?
Sure. My name is Giannina. I am an architect and I work as cost control manager for Travencore.
So do you mind telling me what Travencore focuses on in the Dominican Republic?
Well, Travencore focuses especially on residential projects. Right now, we are building Torre Presto, which is a large residential tower in Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. And the project is currently in the foundation space. So cost control is very important at this stage.
Are you working or delivering any other types of projects other than residential or just residential specialists?
Just residential for the moment, yeah.
And how large is your current project portfolio? First up, how many projects are there that Travencore are currently developing?
We're currently developing 3 projects at the same time.
Yep. And what would their budgets total approximately?
I think around $100 million, between $100 and $120 million total.
Yeah, great. And then how many people are currently on your team?
Our team has between 15 and 20 people in office, but around 40 to 50 people on campus.
Great. Awesome. Okay. So before Mastt, how were you managing your projects and budgets?
So before Mastt, we managed all our cost control in Excel files. And at first it worked, but the project is big and complex and everything was manual. So that meaning that one small error could affect the whole report. And every month building the reports took a lot of time and a lot of double checking. So we really needed one place where the information was reliable and always up to date.
Are you able to walk me through a typical process of what it used to look like from updating your cost report to producing a report update for your stakeholders?
Well, if we're talking about time, something that would take me maybe 2 or 3 days, I am able to get the information within basically 20 minutes tops. It meaning that I get the report done in 20 minutes because the information you can get within seconds, you know.
In the old world, so it used to take you 2 to 3 days to make sure that everything was updated, formatted,
and for me to deliver the report to the stakeholders, maybe 1 or more, 2 days extra.
Were you able to, within your old processes, capture schedule reporting as well?
Yeah, but on a very rough level. Not very detailed level. Yeah.
Okay. What were some of the biggest challenges or frustrations with your old approach?
The information was scattered. We didn't have the information in one place. So basically to get a report, we needed to open several documents at the same time. So having the information in one place, having our contracts, our payments, our forecasts, all the information lives in that single place, and the team is right now working with the same numbers.
Yeah. In terms of the old pain point, sort of what you just sort of outlined, as a cost controller that is required to provide an update to stakeholders as well as manage your project, are there any particular words, how that made you feel? Words or emotions?
It makes me feel super confident in what I do. I think that is the biggest value. The biggest value is confidence because I trust the numbers and I can see the full picture of the project at any moment. And that changes everything because I can make better decisions faster instead of spending hours preparing a report and focus on the real work, controlling the cost and protecting the project.
Right. Can you give me a specific example of a problem that was very hard to solve without the right tooling in your old world?
For example, if we wanted to check real quick how much money a contract or a specific category, how much we would spend up to date, that would have taken us a long time and obviously going through several departments. And right now, that information we can get it within seconds.
Did that lead to any particular risks or issues on a project? That example, were there cost overruns or things like that due to lack of visibility?
Absolutely. I think the biggest issue that we had before Mass is that the costs, we weren't controlling the costs as we should have been. We were controlling parts of it because it was confusing. It was all these numbers. It was hard to do. And right now it's super easy. I think that is the biggest thing that it saved us a lot of time, and also everybody has the same information at the same time.
So I know you sort of just outlined a few pain points, but was there anything else that's sort of a little bit wider that made you start looking for a more dedicated solution that is specific to your persona and use case?
You mean, well, the reason why I started looking for a software like Vast, it was because of the complexity of the project and how big the budget was. All these details and all these contracts needed to be really taken care of. So we couldn't do this with basic spreadsheets. We needed something specific and really detailed where we could have all this information. So yeah, I don't think we could have really done a good job without a software like this.
What did your evaluation process look like? What were the key considerations?
I needed a software that was easy to use, but also really powerful. And at the moment when I started looking for Mass, I hadn't run into something similar. So it was a huge surprise. And so when I found you guys, I reached out, and then my first main concern was the onboarding process. I remember I spoke to you about it. The onboarding process, I was a little worried about it, but to my surprise, it was super fast. Obviously, you Jackson were great. The support was phenomenal. You were there since the beginning and really responsive to us. And I think it like checked all the categories that I was looking for. And obviously visually is super it's super attractive. So that is a plus plus.
Yeah. Are you able to just outline any of those key categories or criteria that you were looking for that Mastt met?
Well, the onboarding process is super easy. The payment to register payments is super quick. The AI feature where it reads the contracts and it extracts the information, is fantastic. The platform is super fast as well, and always it updates quickly, and it's also pleasantly to look at. So yeah, it's super pretty. So
Okay. Did you consider any other platforms or tools?
I did. I considered Presto, which is I don't know how, it's an ERP, I think it says in English, right? But visually, it didn't meet the criteria, and the onboarding process for Presto, it's super complicated because it would have needed training for the whole team.
Yep.
Months of training. So yeah, we didn't need it to do that with Mast, and it was great.
Okay. Yeah. Other than that, sort of onboarding and a couple of the other items you mentioned, was there anything else that sort of pushed you towards Mastt over other alternatives?
Well, you did. Your service was the thing that really convinced me. I was like, okay, if I'm gonna have this type of support with, on a daily basis, I for sure that my confidence level obviously went up, and I was like, I was 100% certain the project.
Was there anything else that potentially may have reassured you to overcome these sort of concerns or
The
hesitation?
pricing is super good for what it does. It's super, I think it's super manageable, to say a word. I think any project that can easily adapt it to their budget. So that was also a key factor in time when it came the time to make a decision.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you say the self-serve approach assisted? So being able to use the system yourself before committing?
What do you mean? Say it again.
Because I believe you signed up for a free project, right?
Yes, I did.
Yes. Yeah. Did that approach assist and sort of the ease of actually navigating around the system yourself? Was there any?
Yes.
Yeah. So the just the simple
Yes,
ease.
I navigated. I tried it a little bit. I explored it a little bit, and that absolutely that helped. Yeah, that helped us. That helped me to really make a decision and reach out. That was before after I reached out to you guys.
Okay, great. And then I'm gonna ask something. So again, all of throughout the buying process, everything that sort of ticked your boxes and sort of I suppose satisfied. Are there any particular words or emotions that sort of you felt through that? It may have been those two that I just said, but
Yeah, well, excitement. I was super excited. Every time I see an update on the Mastt platform, I get super happy. So yeah, I'm always excited to use it, honestly.
that's great. Okay. So yeah, my next questions are going to be, actually using the platform. So how has Mastt changed the way that yourself and your team manages projects day to day, whether that is from a cost perspective, schedule management, risk management, reporting to stakeholders, etc.?
I think it gives us a lot of peace in terms of that we're looking at the numbers and we know that we're protecting the cost of the project at all times. And also it gives us more confidence to add more projects to the platform at the same time to our portfolio. So yeah, it made us life a lot easier.
Great.
Mhm.
So which features do you use the most?
Well, contracts and payments are all of my favorite, obviously, but the dashboard, I think the dashboard is fantastic because you can have several dashboards presets, and you can always have the information right there. And so they are also super pretty to look at. They're also beautiful. But I think the contracts, payments, and forecasts are the three that I use the most.
Why is that valuable to you?
Oh, I have all the information that I need to make better and faster decisions when it comes to, on our daily to day work. So yeah.
Are you able to walk me through a specific example where Mastt has actually made a real difference for you? I know you've only been using the platform sort of like relatively recent, but
Well, and especially in the monthly reports, we have to see how much we've spent and how much money we have committed. That information, I have it within seconds. And before Mast, that usually used to take me 1 week, to gather all that info. So I think that has been one of the biggest impacts that Mast has into our project.
how has reporting or cost visibility changed since you started using the platform?
Well, we are the stakeholders are at peace. Let's say something like that. I think the fact that they have the information of how much, especially the commitments. Let's say, yeah, and access to that information as well at all times. I think that has made a huge difference. Important. It's great.
Yeah. Segue just off that into the next question. So, has Mastt improved collaboration and communication within your team and to your external stakeholders?
Yes, it has.
Do you mind going into a little bit of detail? Do you have an example of how either a report or a dashboard that has been produced in Mastt has assisted?
You know that I have a report that I wanted to share with you that I delivered yesterday. It's not a report that I extracted from Masst directly, but all the information, it was from Masst. Everybody's looking at the same report. Everybody knows what we're trying to protect, and we're not missing any deadlines in terms of payments, which is something that used to happen in the past. And yeah, I think we're working better.
Yep.
We're working better, and but I don't like to say faster because we're not running, but we're working better and we're not having any delays on payments and our commitments.
I know you mentioned it is something that has happened before. would you say the visibility, the presence, and just general use of Mastt on a day-to-day has alleviated and helped fix that issue?
Yes. Yes, 100%. Yes, right now it's super in terms of minutes, we know how much we've paid and how much we're coming, well, how much it's coming. So yeah, that was an issue that we totally fixed with Mastt that we used to have in the past.
Yeah, great. Would you say, again, from a stakeholder reporting perspective, and again, I think you hinted at it, it's everyone is aligned and
everyone is aligned. Exactly.
Great. Were there any surprises, things that the platform did better, or things that you just didn't expect from the beginning, so that as you've learned and got more experienced?
A lot of things. A lot of things. I thought that the platform, you just put information and it give you, your numbers in your dashboard. How do you say the document that you can actually extract? You can extract the Excel files. You can have your PDFs, and it's beautifully like designed. So it's like I don't have to do much work on top of it. So that was really a surprise. And all these, when you're building a dashboard and you have all these tile options, all the information that you can actually build and put together, and that you guys like every week update also. I think that's been surprising. I still get surprised when I see the blue dot. That's something new is coming up. Yeah.
Great. Is that what you've mentioned a couple of times, using the Mastt platform? You're excited to use it and it makes you feel powerful. Is it those things that I suppose assist and facilitate that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. I will just got one question on the onboarding. So how long would you say, did it actually take to get up and running?
The onboarding process, I think it took a day to put it up and running. It was super fast. Once I spoke with you, I think we had a meeting about an hour or something like that. I was able to put in a lot of information, so it was super quick. That was a really good surprise too. How fast that was.
Okay. Awesome. So my next questions is going to be about sort of results and outcomes. So just, I suppose, since adopting Mastt, what measurable outcomes have you seen? Are there things related to, again, I know you've hinted at a few things before, but just...
I've seen some deficiencies that our budget had that we're fixing since using Mastt 100%, because now we need to start aligning our budget, or our contracts as close as we're going to pay them. So we have a real track of the contract. And right now we're asking all of the contractors to please, give us the detailed, how do you say that? The work breakdown structure of their contracts. So that, that was another visibility that Mastt gave us. Things that were not detailed enough, so we couldn't go and procure them. Yeah, that was great.
Great. So contracts, schedule of values, transparency, aligning that to budget. You mentioned before about also like payment deadlines and being able to hit them. Is there anything else sort of cost related that Mastt has assisted you with?
I'm sorry?
That Mastt has assisted with, like anything cost related?
Well, it changes. Changes. Yeah, changes. That's the forecast, right? No, changes.
Changes are change orders. So forecast.
Changes and change orders.
Yeah.
We're being able to have that level of transparency in every payment. How much is out of contract is also something that we did not have before.
Yep. Yeah. What about from a time and schedule perspective? Has there been any improvements in, again, deadlines, knowing where tasks are at, things like that? Have there been any improvements in that regard, or is it more just been financial so far?
Yeah, it has been more financial so far.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What about measurable outcomes in terms of actually like producing your report? So before, I think you said it could take like a week in Excel. And now what we've done is, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but we've set up automated dashboards. So how has that measurably helped, I suppose?
it has, I don't even know how to put it into words, but it's like I don't even have to do a report anymore. I have my report set up all day and I'm looking at it all day, updated. So that's a game changer for sure. So yeah.
Is there anything from a stakeholder satisfaction perspective?
Yeah, they're super happy. I think they're super satisfied. They always want to know how much we have contracted and how much we have paid and how much it's coming. So again, having that no, having those numbers up to date with just entering the platform has been super helpful to them and to me as well.
Is there anything that the Mastt platform has that's been able to assist with productivity? I know you touched on before about leveraging some of the AI functionality.
You mean productivity in terms of?
Saving you time.
Of course. I mean, of course, yes. In terms of productivity, again, some a payment, a payment review or a contract review that used to take us a couple of days or a couple of hours. It's basically being reviewed or done within minutes. So the amount of hours that I've saved using Mastt, it's unmeasurable at this point. And I've only been using it for a couple of months. So yeah, it's that is what I mean. I don't know how many good things Mastt has, because I always say that is one of the great things. It has a lot of great things, but when it comes to time saving, of course.
Yeah. How has it improved sort of your confidence or your ability to make faster, more informed decisions?
It 100% it has improved because I have my numbers right there. I can, I can review them within minutes. And something that it usually would take maybe not a lot of time, but a lot of people to consult with, we have it in the same, they live in the same space. So that's really important.
I know you've sort of said it makes you excited, makes you feel powerful, makes you feel confident. I've also heard other people
Happy. Let's say happy right now.
Yeah, I've heard of people say like relieved and in control as well.
And relieved for sure. Relieved as well, yes.
Yeah. Why particularly relieved? Is it knowing that something is in a centralized location and giving you what you want? Or
Yes, 100%. Having everything into one platform, all the numbers that we need to make better decisions, that is why I feel relieved.
okay, yeah. Would you, I know you just said it's been immeasurable at the moment, but is there a specific example where you've been able to save sort of X time doing something or controlled X amount of dollars or avoided risk or anything like that since using Mastt?
Well, for sure. Well, an example that happened just recently, a couple of weeks ago, was that we prevented to overpay something because of Mouse.
On that particular example, how much was the saving?
It was like 20,000. Yeah,
Wow.
and we were able to detect it because of obviously previous payments that were registered, but from last year. That's why that's why here if we wouldn't have an Excel file with payments for 2026, we wouldn't have, detected that. So we prevented that from happening.
Great. Awesome. Okay. So the last few is just going to sort of be wrapping up. So what does your project pipeline look like going forward, and how does Mastt fit into those plans?
This project is just getting started. So we're going to be working with Mastt for the next at least 4 years. So I'm very excited to see the contracts, getting signed. Really excited to see the payments flowing, to see the project growing, and to see maybe Mastt being incorporated into other projects that we're gonna have soon in the near future.
Great. How would you describe Mastt to a fellow developer who may not have heard of it yet?
As a platform, oh my gosh, Jackson, that is a hard question. I would say it's user friendly. I would say it's powerful. Yeah,
on
it's like
LinkedIn.
complete. It's I don't know how to say complete, but it's like complete. You know, when something is not missing anything. I would recommend Mast to any team that wants better cost control and clear and professional reporting. So yeah.
Great. Well, you actually just answered my next question. So, is there anything else about your experience that you'd like to share? Potentially something that we haven't covered.
Again, I think I would recommend the platform to any team that wants better cost control without having the headache of a hard onboarding process or complicated training. And for us, it really has been a valuable addition to the project. And also being the first client in the Dominican Republic, I feel proud to bring this tool to the Caribbean. I think our region has a lot to offer, and projects here deserve this level of technology.
Yep. Great. That's awesome. Yeah. Any concluding statements, anything like that?
You were a big part of this, Jackson. I want everybody that sees this video, I want everybody to know that you've been great. Thank you so much again for your help. Yeah, I'm super happy. I've told you several times. We're super excited to be to continue using the platform. I know I'm gonna see good things that are coming. So yeah, I mean, no, I don't have anything else to say other
No.
than that I'm happy, I'm excited, and I'm at peace with what we're doing here.
That's great. That's awesome. Thank you very much for all that. So yeah, that's all I had for us this morning. So thank you very much for taking the time. You were fantastic.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you want to know more about construction and get all the professional tips, tricks, and AI advice from real construction project managers, follow this channel for more insights.